بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كلية الإمام الكاظم، أقسام الديوانية، قسم اللغة الإنجليزية، المرحلة الرابعة، مادة التطبيق. Today we have a lecture. This is the second lecture, which is about some problems ELT, okay, teachers face when teaching English. You know, English teachers, when they teach English language, they face so many problems. Some of these problems, not all the problems are here, just some problems that the teachers face. These problems are the most important problems that teachers face in schools. Number one, the bandwagon problem. Number one, the bandwagon problem. Number two, the overly anxious problem. Number three, the engagement problem. The engagement problem. So let's first explain the bandwagon problem. Here they are given in a brief, not in detail. You can go to the Google and Google these problems and see more and more if you want more information about these problems and how we overcome these problems. The bandwagon problem, which means what? Going with the crowd. Okay? This is especially for the new teachers. Like you, for example, when you graduate from college and you go to schools, usually new teachers do not know so many things about teaching, do not know about methods and ways of teaching. So they do what? They follow what? They follow this method. And in this way we will have what? If they do this, they will have bandwagon problem, which means what? Going with the crowd. Going with the crowd. Going with the crowd. Okay? Follow the suit. Remember this word. They follow the suit. When teachers follow the same methods of teaching with the crowd. يعني بالعربي نقول حشر مع القوم عيد. They follow the crowd. They follow suit. They go to the teachers. Okay? For example, one of the teachers, the new teachers, goes to school. He wants to teach. He goes to the old teachers, the teachers who have experience in teaching for example, 10, 20 years. They ask them what to do, how to teach, how to make a plan. Okay? This is what we mean by bandwagon problem. So if they go to those teachers, if the new teachers go to the old teachers and follow the methods of teaching, we will have what? Bandwagon problem. How do we have this problem? Why? Because, when new teachers go to school and they ask the old teachers, maybe the old teachers do not follow the right methods of teaching. They don't have the new way of teaching. Okay? New methods of teaching. Rather, they follow traditional methods of teaching, or maybe they are following the wrong methods of teaching. So this is a problem that the new teachers, follow or go with those in old teachers. However, this way gives teachers confidence. Of course, it gives you confidence when you see yourself doing what the old teachers do. When you go to class and you follow, for example, you have a famous teacher in this school, the best teacher in this school, and you follow his methods, his ways of teaching. Of course, this gives you what? Confidence. This makes you confident. But stop you as teachers and as the new teachers from making informed teaching decisions. Okay? This stops you from what? From following the new methods of teaching, or from making decisions in teaching, or from, for example, when you want to change the way of teaching, if you want to do something new, if you want to follow something important. Okay? So this is what we mean by bandwagon problem. This is what you will see. This is what will you face when you go to school. Usually, you go to teachers and ask them to follow, to tell them or to tell you. Okay, you ask them to tell you that about teaching, what to do, what to teach, how to act inside the classroom. But this is not always good, because maybe the teachers are not in the best way, in the best position that you want to follow them. This stops you. Okay, this stops your mind, stops your thinking. You have to know the methods of teaching. You have to know the basics of ALT, the basics of TOEFL and TESOL, how to teach students inside the classroom. So this is your job. You have to learn. So when you go to school, you have these ways. You know how to teach. You have guide and you have to follow this guide. Not the teacher's guide. Like, I mean, the teacher himself. So, because some teachers do not follow the guide. They have their own way of teaching, their own ways, methods of teaching. Okay, so this is wrong. You have to follow the guide. You have to have decisions. You have to make decisions. So this is very important. Go to school, having with you TESOL, okay, a book, knowing how to teach English as a second language, and that's enough. You may need, of course, you need the old teachers, but you need their advice as a mentor for you, okay, as advisor, a supervisor, how to deal with certain situation, not in everything. Okay, this is very important. This number one. Number two, you may face overly anxious problem, from its name, anxious, which means that the students fear. Okay, this is very, very common inside the classroom, that the students feel fear. They fear inside the class. Okay, they feel afraid. Afraid of what? Because what? Because they are unable to pronounce. So, or not, or know somewhere. So they are what? They are afraid of making some mistakes or errors in pronunciation, in, for example, translating certain words. Okay? Or will be criticized in, okay, encounter cultural values and others. So this is very important, that some students are afraid of making some mistakes in pronunciation, in grammar. They are afraid of other students. If, for example, one of the students says that if I want to participate, if I want to say something, if I make mistake, maybe other students will laugh at me. Okay, so he said what? He says that no, I will not participate. I will not speak. So in this case, he lacks confidence. He doesn't have confidence. No confidence. So you have to make him confident. You have to tell them. You have to tell your students that it is not a problem if you make mistake. It's okay. Thank you so much. This is okay. No problem. It's right to make mistakes, because you are students. Okay, because you are students, it is okay. It is very okay to make mistakes. But when you are a teacher, no, it is not okay. Okay, it's a bigger problem. So you have to make them confident. You have to give them confidence. You have to dismiss any kind of fear inside the students. Don't allow any students to laugh at others. Don't allow yourself to laugh at them. Okay? Don't laugh or don't criticize your students. If your students, for example, make mistake inside the classroom, tell them, okay, very good, but not in this. You have to say this, not this. You have to say, pronounce it in this way. If one of the students laughs, no, you have to stop him. You have so many ways of stopping students from laughing or making fun of each other. You can stop them by speaking, tell them, don't laugh, I don't allow you to do this, okay? Or you can make it by using your facial expressions, using your eyes. You can gaze at him, gazing. تحدق عليه عن خزرة. Gazing at him, for example, okay? To show to him and all the students that you don't accept such kind of criticism, such kind of behavior. So this is very important. We have this problem. So students should be given chance to use English. You have to give your students chance to use English, to speak, to pronounce, to participate. No judgment. Don't judge your students. No judgment. You have to have understanding and paraphrasing. Give them time to understand, to paraphrase. Okay? And of course, we will talk about these points in detail later on. The last problem is the engagement problem. Engagement problem. Which means that what? There is lack of interaction. Engagement. They don't engage. They don't interact. There is lack of interaction. Between whom? Between teachers and students. And students. Okay? We have what? We have a problem between teachers and students. Lack of interaction. And also between students themselves. There should be interaction between teachers and students. Teachers should not, you as a teacher, you should not speak all the time. You should not, this is very important, you should not speak all the time. You should give a chance to your students to speak. You have to speak less and make your students speak more. You have to give them chance to speak, to participate. You have to give them chance to speak with each other, to make groups between them, to speak, to participate, in order to make them confident. Okay? There should be interaction. What we have nowadays in our schools, in Iraqi schools, we have what? What kind of problem? We have a problem that the teacher is the only person who does everything, who acts, who participates, who speaks, who writes, who asks. Okay? This is very wrong. It is wrong. It is not normal that the teachers speak all the time. No, remember in the last lecture we talked about this point. We talked about the role of the teacher inside the classroom and the role of the student inside the classroom. Each one has its own responsibilities, duties, and tasks. Okay? Or each one of them has to know his role, has to know his duty, what to do. So you as a teacher, you have to create this kind of atmosphere, suitable atmosphere. Okay? So you here as a teacher, you have to what? To make a suitable atmosphere. You have to make a mood inside the classroom, to make it active, not inactive. You should make your students awake, not asleep. If you only speak, maybe some of the students will sleep and you don't know. Because imagine that you have 50 students inside the classroom and you are bothering, you are busy with yourself, explaining, reading, writing. Okay? Imagine you have 50 students. What do you think? That all the students, all these students with you, 50 students with you? Of course not. Maybe only 10 with you, 20, 30. Not all the students with you. So, if you make an interaction, if you activate this kind of way of teaching inside the class, if you make them motivated, you will see that all the students are awake. All the students are ready to participate. All the students will think, will make conversation, will speak, will think, will speak with you, with each other. Okay, so you have, as a teacher, you have to create this suitable atmosphere, this appropriate atmosphere, and you have to show emotional maturity. You have to be mature enough to deal with your student. You have to be emotional, sympathetic with your students. These are your students. You should not be angry at them all the time. Okay, only a certain situation. You have to be kind with them, to have to be friends. Okay, especially nowadays. We as a teachers, we have to be friendly with our students. So you have to show your emotional sensitivity to students' feeling. Okay, students have feeling. Now you have feelings or not? All of you have feelings. So when you graduate, when you go to school, your students have feelings. So you have to show sensitivity. You have to what? You have to be sensitive. That the students, what they have feeling, they have emotion, and you have to tell them the necessity to learn, to communicate in English. So you have to speak with them. You have to tell them that this is very important. What I am doing is for you, for your own benefit, not for me. You have to speak in English. You have to communicate in English. You have to read in English. Don't use Arabic. Okay? So this is very important. You have to tell them what is their role, what they have to do. Okay? This is very important for you as a teacher, as a leader. As I said, that you inside the class, you are the leader of the class. You are the Lord of the class. You are the God of the class. You are responsible for everything inside the classroom. You manage, you guide, you monitor everything. You watch everything inside the class. So you have to tell your students, you have to tell them to interact, to communicate between each other, to participate, to speak in English, to communicate in English. You have to show sensitivity to your students, to show sympathy, emotion to them. All these things you have to show. If you don't do this, starting from the very beginning, from the first one, if you go to teachers and you follow their ways, okay, because their ways maybe for you they are good, maybe it will be a problem. It will stop you from thinking. Number two, if you neglect, ignore students' fear, there will be problem. If you give chance to your students, if you give chance to other students to laugh, to make fun of each other, to criticize each other, this will be a problem. If you judge your students, it will be a problem. And the last point, if you as a teacher, you only speak inside the classroom, of course, it is a very, very big problem. Okay, so you have to tell them, you have to show everything to them. You have to tell them how to communicate with each other, how to participate, because it is not you as a teacher who does everything. I mean, who speaks, who writes, reads. No, you as a teacher, you have to show everything to the students, to tell them this is your job and this is my job. This is your duty and this is my duty. This is your role and this is my role. Okay? Students, when you finish the year, you will see that the students have confidence. They are able to communicate with each other because they have mind. God gives us mind, all of us. There is no difference between one and other. All have the ability to study, to read, okay? Alone, we just need a guide, a supervisor, someone who guides us, who tells us to do this, and the rest we can do it by ourselves. Okay, thank you so much, my dear students.